I may act for a living, but I know how to spot a gnat. Go away, Teddy. Ugh. Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm Rafael and I am here to review season 13, episode 11 of The Real Housewives Licking Toes of Beverly Hills. We start the episode off with the cast showing up to Kyle's house because we're taking an unexpected day trip to Ojai, California for Anne-Marie's birthday. Kyle feels that Anne-Marie only comes around the group when there's drama, chaos, or talk about esophaguses, and she's trying to show her a different side of the group. Not that it really matters anyway because I doubt that she'll be back for next season, but good luck with that. So Sutton, she asked, so where's Erica? Are we waiting for her? Where is she? Unfortunately, Erica Jane, she caught the 19, so she can't make it, but they do call her. She's at home. She's getting ready for her $3 tour that she's doing in Las Vegas. She's like, I tested positive 3 times, but don't worry about me. Have fun on your trip anyways. And honestly, I feel like if Erica Jane wasn't on the show anymore, the whole show itself would shift a bit because I felt her presence not being there the entire episode, or this trip specifically, so I feel like she is needed for the show. So they get the whole trip on the go, they get on the Sprinter van. I was having flashbacks again to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City because you know they're notorious for their big fights and their big drama inside their Sprinter vans. Unfortunately, Beverly Hills, they can't get with the program because they were riding in their Sprinter van quietly and peacefully. And I'm like, Anne-Marie, like, you don't want to confront Sutton while you're in the Sprinter van, like, about her esophagus situation? Like, you don't want to do anything? No? I'm used to the toxicness from the Salt Lake City cast. So that Anne-Marie in the confessional, she was like, I really hope that this whole trip makes me and Sutton become better friends because I feel like we started off on a rocky start. You mean you started off on a rocky start? Sutton didn't do anything to you. You're the one that's catching feelings over her esophagus conversation. Like, this is a one-sided beef, Anne-Marie. Get it together. So eventually they make it to OJ. They get dropped off at the stores. They start shopping around for clothes. Dorit, she couldn't wait to start speaking a whole different language or a different accent or whatever she was doing because she starts looking at the clothes. She tells one of the employees, oh my God, my baby, I love it. I love it. Ciao, Bella. I love it. Mamma mia. I love it. It's so chic. If I was the employee, I'll be looking at Dorit like, ma'am, are you gonna buy the shirt or not? Like, I'm not going back and forth with you with your foolishness. Like, you either buy it or get the hell out. I have other customers. You're taking up my time. But eventually they do a little shopping, they leave, they get to the final destination, which is a wine and tequila tasting, which that right there, that's a very dangerous combination, right? Kyle has a card game that's similar to Truth or Dare. And the first card says, somebody has to lick my toe. And this is a safe space, right? Like, we could talk to each other, we could be honest with each other and confess things to each other without judgment. Well, it depends what you confess to me because I might judge a bit, but me specifically, I have a foot fetish, but I'm not sure if I'll be down to do something like this because we were just on a van for who knows how long. We were probably sweating all day. We haven't showered. We're not going to a hotel. We've been walking around all day. You have sandals on. What if I lick your toe and I taste a little bit of Morgan? Because who knows what kind of freaky stuff Kyle is into? Then what? So then Sutton volunteers to do it. That second date has her feeling a little frisky. She's like, I'll do it. And I'm like, Sutton, what would the Ballet Society think of this? So she gets up and she grabs Kyle's foot and she licks the toe. And I'm like, oh. I hope she has a good tongue scraper when she got back home. So the next thing was, show me your orgasm face. And this is to Dorit. Even her orgasm face had a fake accent because she's like, oh my God. And I'm like, ugh. But then again, I don't blame her because if I was with PK, I'll probably have to fake an orgasm too. And then Crystal, she gives her old face and she's like, I'm like, what is this? This is how you do it. Oh my gosh. Like that's how you do it. But then I believe the next there was, okay, so somebody has to lick Dorit's tongue. Dorit, surprisingly, she was down and she bobs her head back. She sticks her tongue out. Sutton, she was like, oh, I volunteer as tribute. And I'm like, Sutton, what would the Ballet Society think of this? So she gets up and she goes over and she licks her tongue. And I'm like, wow, Sutton, but okay, fine, whatever. At least she's open to it, right? So then Kyle, out of nowhere, she's like, so, would anybody date a woman? It's just annoying how she's purposely putting all of this out there of her and Mauricio having marriage issues. All of a sudden, her and Morgan are hanging out. Morgan is getting her initial tatted on her arm. She was in her music video, and now she's asking the group, oh, would you date a woman? It's like she knows that she wants them to connect the dots. But the second that they do and they question her about it, she pretends to be clueless to everything that she put out there. Like, wait, what? What are you talking about? Where's this coming from? Kyle, I see what you're doing. You're not slick. But Garcelle, she was the one that says, well, I have thought about dating a woman in the past. I have. And they questioned Kyle, would you date? Yes. She didn't even let them finish the question. She was like, yes, indeed, I would definitely date a woman. Then she starts talking about scissoring, and Anne-Marie was like, wait, what is scissoring? Well, see, Anne-Marie, if you weren't so down Sutton's esophagus, maybe we could learn a thing or two. But Kyle is like, oh, well, it's so funny that you asked that. Let me teach you. Dorit, get up. Let's assume the position. She got Dorit in the position in like 2.5 seconds. Dorit is on the floor like, oh my God, Kyle, wait a minute. Give me 1 second, my baby. I'm like, Kyle, where did you learn that from? I'm impressed. Like, that was crazy. But they sit back at the table. They get the birthday cake out for Anne-Marie. They sing happy birthday and they celebrate her birthday. And it was a cute activity. It was nice to see them have fun. The trip comes to an end and we see Garcelle at her house making some lasagna for her sons who are coming over to stay with her. Jade, he's impatient. He makes himself a bowl of cereal. And Jade, milk with lasagna. That's a nasty combination. Like, you're just asking to get diarrhea. So Garcelle was just like, well, the other night, Jade, he came to my room and he asked me to have his girlfriend Ashlyn spend the night. I told him no, which I said in my review a couple of episodes ago, that is a crazy question to ask your mom, right? Jada was just like, oh, well, you're just being a hater. You're just being a hater. Garcelle was just like, well, I mean, if she does spend the night, what do you two want to do? And the whole conversation was just very awkward. I'm like, okay, what an odd question. But, you know, Jade, he stays quiet. But then his brother was just like, oh, they want to have sex. So they start laughing. They start blushing. And Garcelle was just like, oh, stop it, stop it. I don't want to have another grandkid. And then she's like, well, you know what? Since you bring up the conversation about sex, let's talk about it. What do you two know about sex? They start laughing and tell her, no, Mom, we're not talking about this right now. And even though they were uncomfortable with the topic, I like that Garcelle let them know again. Remember, consent is consent and everything has to be consensual and no means no. Then we head over to Dorit's house and she's with her husband PK. They're having a therapist come over because she's still dealing with the aftermath of what happened with the fake robbery. With the robbery situation. I thought we all came to a conclusion that robbery situation was staged. Why are we still talking about it? But she's having a therapist named Sarah come over and she tells PK, Bebe, can you go open up the door for Sarah? She's coming in. Go open up the door for her, Bebe. So PK, he goes over, but then he makes a quick stop to eat a slice of pizza. She finds him and she's like, PK, what are you doing, Bebe? You're supposed to be opening the door, Bebe. What are you doing? Let me go open it. So she opens up the door for Sarah. She comes in. PK hugs her. And if I was Sarah, absolutely not. I would have told PK, get your greasy hands off me. I saw you eating that slice of pizza. You just ruined my shirt. And this is Chanel too. Like, Dorit, I'm going to have to charge you extra. Your husband just ruined my shirt. Dorit, what I got out of this whole conversation is that the second that PK goes back to the UK for a business trip or whatever, you need to go upstairs to your room, pack up your stuff, pack up a lot of his stuff, you know, his jewelry, his rings, his watches, a couple of his shoes, so you can sell online, put it in a closet and run, because I'm pretty sure that PK is sick of you. He's gonna kick you out. At least that's the direction that this whole relationship seems that it's going. PK is just over her, and Dorit starts it off by saying, Bebe, I just feel like sometimes, you know, when I try to tell you something that I'm going through, I feel like you get very defensive and, you know, you become so defensive about everything I'm telling you. And I'm like, oh, so you're aware of the behavior when you try to tell somebody, well, when you try to tell PK something that you feel that's bothering you, he becomes defensive and you don't like it. So you're aware of that behavior. So why do you do it to Garcelle? And PK, he's like, well, Dorit, you know, the situation between me and you, I tried to be there for you, but I just feel like you're a little bit too high maintenance. You know, you ask for too much, you're doing too much, and it's just like you need to cool it down a little bit. His issue is that he feels that Dorit is becoming high maintenance, you know, with the whole situation that happened a couple of episodes ago where he tried to surprise her with the hotel, the dress. That still wasn't enough. She still wanted more. And I would too. And you know, PK, if you met Dorit, because I feel like Dorit was always high maintenance. She was always like that. So I feel like now that you probably don't have the the money to back it up and to give her the lifestyle that she was always accustomed to, now it's becoming an issue with you. And she's like, well, I mean, PK, I try to understand what you're going through and everything, but if I'm going through something, I want you to be there for me. I want you to be understanding, but you're never here for me. So PK, he throws it back at her and he's like, well, I mean, David, I try to, but you're very mean. You're very cruel to me sometimes. You're very mean to me for no reason. You just lash out instead of trying to be understanding. I try to be there for you, and you know, because I don't want you being like this, Dorit. I don't. And then he starts crying, and I'm like, okay, whatever. You know, I don't feel sympathy for him. PK, especially when Dorit is full of it, but he's also full of it because I don't like the way he speaks to her when he's like, do you understand what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, it's just so condescending. If I was Dorit, I'll be like, no, I don't. Stop telling me that, like, ugh. But, you know, and then the therapist, Sarah, she's just sitting there like, he still fucked up my shirt. So the Dorit was just like, oh my God, my Bubba, stop it. I didn't know that this is what you were going through. I'm so sorry. So she sits on his lap and, you know, they're crying together or whatever. If I was Sarah, I'll be like, all right, I'm heading home. But the Dorit, you have to run. So we get to Kyle's event for her best friend, Lorraine, who committed suicide. And we see her on the way to the venue. She picks up her side chick, Morgan, as well as Teddy, or at least Teddy snuck into the truck. I'm like, Teddy, what are you doing again? Like, why are you back? Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. But they get to the venue. We see Morgan. She's trying to, you know, play her guitar and everything. She's doing rehearsals because she's going to perform later on. Kyle, she's in the middle of a conversation with somebody. She hears the guitar and she runs over. And, I mean, she was just looking at Morgan with, like, those goo goo gaga eyes. She was just like, that's my baby up there. That's mine. That's all me right there. Like, she was just in awe. I'm like, Kyle, just please admit that you love the woman, but, you know, whatever. Everybody else, they all start coming in one by one. We see the morally corrupt Faye Resnick. Hey, Faye. She came back to corrupt. We see Camille. I'm looking around like, wait a minute. Where's Denise Richards? I wouldn't be surprised if she got the wrong address or if she ended up in the wrong place with her jacket upside down. But we see the cast. They all come in. Garcelle, this is probably my favorite look of yours the entire season. She looks so, so good. So they're all walking around, you know, they're all mingling and everything. And we see Kyle. We see her talk to Lorraine's mom. I believe her name was Sugar. You know, I almost cried like maybe 3-4 times from this point to the very end of the episode because it was just so touching. Her mom was crying. Kyle was crying. I felt for both of them. You know, I mean, that's your best friend. And Kyle says, you know, I feel like I'm letting Lorraine down because 2 days before, you know, what happened, she told me, value your relationship, value your marriage. And I feel like I'm not valuing my marriage with Mauricio and he's not even here to support me. And she blames it on, oh, he's out on a business trip or whatever, but if he wanted to be there, if he cared about Kyle, if he cared about the situation, he will be there. You know, business is business, but this situation is just on a whole different scale. And again, Garcelle, I was with her when she said this just further proves that, yeah, they have issues in their relationship. It's basically over and Mauricio is not trying to hide it. So Kyle, if I was you, I would also stop trying to hide it either. Like, just go with Morgan. Morgan obviously makes you happy, but then eventually we see Anne-Marie. She's sitting down with Garcelle and Crystal. And they're talking about something, and eventually Anne-Marie, again, the timing of this conversation, right? Like we're at this event that is very, very touchy with the subject, and this is what you want to bring up? She's like, oh, speaking of, let's talk about Sutton's esophagus. Anne-Marie, give me your diamond. Give me your diamond. Like, you can't be serious. Like, we moved on from this esophagus conversation, like, what, like 5 episodes already? Like, we left that in 2023. Why are you still bringing this up? Like, I'm telling you, the production team for Beverly Hills, they just do not know how to cast correctly. Like, I wonder what they saw in Anne-Marie to cast her as a housewife. Like, I don't know. Maybe the season's not over. Maybe she'll show us a different side of her. But this was so lame. I was with Crystal. Crystal was just like, oh, God. Crystal is just over everything. And Garcelle was just like, okay, what does that even matter? Why are you bringing this up? She was like, oh, well, I work in the medical field, this, that, and the third, and something like that causes an eating disorder and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, who cares? Like, again, who cares? Garcelle even said it. In Beverly Hills, we don't talk about esophaguses. We talk about fashion, we talk about purses, ex-husband, plastic surgery. This is what you want to talk about? Like, this is what you really want to fight about? Like, with Sutton, like... But then Crystal, she was just like, now wait a minute, why did you say that she had an eating disorder? Like, why would you even say that? And Marie, she tries to backtrack and she's like, I never said that. And then they rewind the footage. Yes, she did say that. And Crystal was just like, she's gaslighting me. Like, Anne Marie, you're so full of it. It's such a damn shame. But, that was that. Garcelle was just like, you know what? I'm going to get up. I'm going to leave. I'm going to go get a drink. She goes over to Sutton, which Garcelle, I don't think that this is the right time for you to bring that up, especially if you know Sutton, as well as you say you do. You know what happened with her dad, and, the whole event is based around that. Why would you go up to Sutton and say, oh, Anne Marie, she's coming for you in your throat and your esophagus? Why would you even say that? Sutton is probably very emotional. Her emotions are probably running all over the place. Just pick your time and place for that. You could have told her the next day or something, but... Sutton was just like, please stop. Like, please tell Anne Marie to not F with me right now. Like, this is not the time. I'm part of this organization. This is not the right time to talk about that. Garcelle comes face to face with Teddy, and in the confessional, she was like, the Nat is back. And it didn't make it any better that Teddy introduces herself. And she's like, the Nat is here. Like, Teddy, have some self-respect. Like, where's your pride? But... then we see Kyle. She gets up to do a beautiful speech. And shout out to you, Kyle, because the fact that she kept it together mostly for the entire speech in front of all these people, like, that takes strength. Sutton explains that she was supposed to be at her dad's house when he did what he did, but she ran late. She didn't get there on time. And she feels that if she would have got there earlier, things probably would have played out differently. And it took her a while to forgive herself. She continues by saying, I wish my dad was still around. I wish he was here with my children. He'll be proud of them. No, he is proud of them. And he is proud of me. And then she starts crying and getting all choked up. It was a very, very touching moment between her, Kyle, and then Garcelle in the confessional. She says, something about death, it's final. Once it's done, it's done. The person is no longer here. You can't hear their voice. You can't touch them. You can't hug them. You can't hear their laughs or anything. And it was a lot. It was a lot. It was just very, very touchy. And then Morgan gets up there as she's performing. I'm listening to her lyrics like, now wait a minute, because she starts singing, rip me out of my clothes, get me naked, lay me down on your kitchen floor, show me what I've been missing. And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, Morgan, no, this is not that type of event. Like, what kind of lyrics are these? Like, rip me out of my clothes, put me on your kitchen floor. I'm like, this is so inappropriate. And everybody's just looking at her. Everybody's crying. And I'm like, okay, obviously the message of the song probably went over my head. Maybe she meant like in a vulnerable way or something. Like, I don't know, Morgan. I'm pretty sure that you had a different song in your category that you could have performed for this occasion. But then we see Lorraine's mom and her sister. They're at the end. They're crying and they're trying to take pictures. And she whispers over to Kyle, I wish Lorraine was here. And Kyle is like, she is here. She is here in spirit. And if any of you are dealing with anything discussed in this episode or know somebody who's going through something similar, there is help, there's resources, there's support groups. I know what it's like to have those thoughts, and it is scary, and it's not easy, but there is help. And with that being said, I'm sending my love to all of you, and we will talk soon, okay? Bye, everybody. Mwah.